Hi post-19ers, it's Graham making a guest appearance back in the cooking cupboard, and today, boy, have we got a treat for you. We got some lovely cooking to do, and it's a really easy recipe, 2 or 3 processes and a bit of washing up afterwards, and we'll be done. It's going to be a real treat. This is one of my all-time favourites, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy it too. So today we are going to be making my world famous ginger Grundy, and if you've never had a slice of this bad boy, you've never lived. So it's coming your way. I'm going to quickly run through the ingredients and the equipment that you're going to need to make this. So the main thing you're going to need is ginger. So we've got that in the form of ginger biscuits. We've got ground ginger spice from the spice cupboard. We've got a bit of dried stem ginger in sugar syrup. And that's all our ginger. You also need a tin of pineapple. Now, crushed pineapple is best, but if you can't get crushed pineapple, you're going to need chunks and then chop it up a bit smaller. You're going to need about 50 grams of butter and a big old tub of cream. So for the equipment, you're going to need a whisk and a bowl. You need a couple of mixing bowls actually. You need one bowl for whipping the cream up with the whisk, another bowl for making your base. You need a spring form cake tin. Oh, there goes the kitchen scales. Spring form cake tin, that's one of these that springs open like that and the bottom falls out, and then you can't put the bottom back in because it's too fiddly, and you need 3 hands. Oh, I've done it. Awesome. A sieve to drain your pineapple, kitchen scales to do a bit of measuring, and your bowls. I've also got my new favourite kitchen gadget. This is my new favourite kitchen gadget. It's my Father's Day present, and it's a food processor, and it's a hand operated one. So what you do, you put that's your blade, you pop your blade in, you put your whatever you're going to chop up in there, and you pull the handle, and we're going to be mashing up our biscuits in there, but I am going to show you another way. Right, I'm off to wash my hands now. Hope you're going to wash your hands too. Nice good old hand wash before we start doing any food prep, and then we'll get on with the first process in this lovely recipe. So we've washed our hands, and now we're going to do our first process. So this, the ginger Grundy is like a bit like a cheesecake. So we're going to need to make a base, and then we're going to need to make the filling. The base is made from ginger biscuits and ground up and butter. So what I'm going to show you now is making the base, bashing the biscuits up. We're going to start by making the base, and to do that we need to melt some butter. So we're going to get a microwavable jug or bowl. That's going on to the kitchen scales, and we're going to zero that. Let's open our butter, and we need to weigh approximately 50 grams. It doesn't have to be accurate. There we are, 50 grams, just over. Let's move that out of the way. Got that there. That's going in the microwave for 30 seconds. And now the next phase is we're gonna crush our biscuits up. So get your packet of ginger nuts or ginger snaps, or whatever ginger biscuits you've got. This is a 2-step process. Empty them into a bag. Let's move that out of the away, we don't need that. So they're all nicely in the bag. And I'm just crushing them down with my hands to start with. I'm going to get my rolling pin. And then bit by bit I'm going to pour them into my little food processor. You might have an electric one. If you don't, just carry on bashing with the rolling pin. So biscuit crumbs, done. Right, at this point, if you like a lot of ginger, you can add a bit more ground ginger into your spice, into your biscuit crumbs. So there we are, I've added half a teaspoon, make it a bit more gingery, and give that a nice mix in. So our butter is nice and melted, and I find that salty butter is best for this recipe. It makes the ginger zing out. So there we are, we're just going to pour in our melted butter. Into our biscuit mix, and just keep mixing till all the butter is mixed in with your biscuit crumbs and it starts to press down into a solid mass. If it's too dry, you might need to add a bit more melted butter, which I think I'm going to have to do. There we are, look, that's pressing down nice and smooth. So we'll go on to our next stage. And this is where I'm going to give you my first pro tip. So I'm going to get some cling film. I want a piece of cling film slightly bigger than your cake tin. I'll just put that to one side for the minute. So the next stage is grab your cake tin, undo it so that the bottom pops out, put the cling film over it, and then pop it back in. this is where you need that third hand. So there we are. So you've got your cling film sticking out a bit, and I'll show you how that comes in handy a bit later on. So what you do now, just get your butter and biscuit mix, tip it into your cake tin, got a nice big pile in there. So what we're going to do is just press it down nicely and firmly with the back of our spoon. And that will make a nice yummy crunchy gingery base to our Grundy. There we go, that's the base done. Now what we're going to do with this is pop it into the fridge to cool down while we do the next step. So we're going on to the next step now, which is making the filling, and the first thing we have to do is prepare the pineapple. So I've taken the lid off my tin of pineapple. I've got chunks, and you really need to get as much of the liquid out of this as possible. And we'll just drain that off. I'm going to then put it back into my food processor and crush it up and then drain it some more. Go, crushed pineapple. Let's get some more of that juice out of it. Give it a squish down with your spoon. You can use the spoon with your biscuit crumbs on it, because that doesn't matter, it's all going to end up in a lovely gooey scrummy filling. Right, so I'm just going to put that to one side to drain a bit more, and I'm going to do the next process, which is whipping your cream. So I've got a big tub here, you can put as much or as little in as you like. We've got our whisk, be careful here. Plugged it in, it's going to get a bit noisy now. And put your whisk in before you start whisking, put it into your fluid, and then we're just going to press go. And we start off slow, and then build up to a fast speed. And just gently keep it all moving. So you want to carry on whipping until you get nice soft peaks like that. You don't want to whip too much and so that it goes all buttery, but nice and soft. So let's turn that off. There's all our cream. So there we have all our cream in there. So at this point you want 2 teaspoons of ground ginger in your mix. Up pile over there. And then get your crushed pineapple and pop that in as well, and then just gently mix it all together. Give it a good old mix so that all the pineapple gets mixed in. And what you can also do here is open your jar of stem ginger or ginger preserve, and there's some little chunks of lovely sugary ginger in there, and you can add a couple of spoonfuls of that into your mix as well. And just carry on gently mixing it. You want to keep it just on the border of being a little bit runny, but also nice and firm, but you don't want it to go solid like butter. There we are. That's your filling. Right, that's the end of that process. Now for the next process, we're going to fill our cake tin. So we're going to put this on top of our base, which has been in the fridge chilling, so it goes nice and solid. So I'm just going to go and get that, and then I'll show you how to fill your cake tin up. So we're back from the fridge, and there's our base, nice and cold and solid. And all you do is get your bowl of mixture, tip it all in. And once it's in, just squidge it all down up against the sides. You can either make it nice and flat, or you can make it a lumpy bumpy top, up to you. That's good enough for me, and just as an extra little treat, there's a little dollop of ginger in the middle. And that's almost ready. So what we're going to do now is put it in the fridge for about an hour, and then we're going to come back and see how it's turned out and give it a taste. Right, it's an hour later and we've got our ginger Grundy out of the fridge, and it's now on the side ready to be cut. But before I cut the cake, I am going to add one final touch, and I've got in my bag here, I've got a ginger biscuit all bashed up with my rolling pin, and I'm just going to sprinkle that on. Gives it a nice little flourish right at the end, and a bit more of that lovely gingery taste. There we go. So coming up, pro tip number one. Pro tip number one, a warm wet knife and run it just round the inside of your tin before you spring it open. And that will help it to come out a bit smoother. And the pro tip number two is with your cling film that we showed earlier. Undo your spring form There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to move the ginger Grundy off of the base, because you don't really want to cut it on the bottom of the cake tin, because you'll mess up the bottom of the cake tin. So we're just going to gently and he's messed this up completely, or has he? Gently lift it on. But if you want to cut it on here, then you don't have to do the cling film bit. So there we are. So this ginger Grundy serves 16, so you've got to cut that into 16 portions, guys, and it's not the healthiest, so if you have a slice of this, you've got to be a Captain Tom and do 100 laps of your garden after you've had your slice. So yeah, probably best not do the cling film bit. So there's a bit for Ollie the cameraman, because he's worked hard on this project. It's all falling to bits. There's a little bit for me. So here we are with the taste test. Graham's world famous ginger Grundy. Here we go. Yeah guys, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy this. So watch the video, get the ingredients, go home and make it, and I'd love to see your pictures and videos of you doing your cooking. This has been Graham on his guest appearance back in the cooking cupboard for Post 19. We'll see you all soon.